This is Paul McGann, and you're listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast.
The tangents continue all the way to episode 246 of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. And it is time, once again, for us to really give you recommendations, add to your list of things you need to be reading, watching, listening to. Like my list needs to be any longer. But anyway, welcome everyone. There's a flaw in this plan. Welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. So glad you could join us. Let's start off like we do every week. Well, the virtual table is see who's joined us this week.
This is Brittany in Bethlehem.
This is Holly from Wisconsin.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello, everyone.
Hello. Slightly flawed plan, but still good nonetheless, Rachel.
Yes, yeah. Chrissy is...
For when the pile gets shorter, you can add two.
Yeah.
Pile getting shorter?
Never!
That's not gonna happen. I'm being optimistic here, Britt. Mine's continually growing larger and larger.
I was gonna say, as soon as I drop one, I get like 10 more.
Yeah.
Yeah. You and I will both be sharing in this discussion with what we've been watching currently.
Well, it's funny. It's one of the things that it's been so long since we last did this, that one of the things that I'm currently watching is repeated. It's been so long that it's back, but we'll get to that momentarily. So, meanwhile, Chrissy is sick still, and is probably glad that her lists are not being added to at the moment. But first, we need to do the news. First up, some convention announcements and news-related things. Doctoberfest is coming up towards the end of October. It's the last Saturday in October at Who North America, which is here in Indy. I will be there tabling again. Hopefully, it will be decent weather. It's been hit and miss every year, but they need volunteers for different things with parking and handling the games and all sorts of things. So if you are available to, even for a few hours, to give them a hand, they will gladly take your appendages and pulse and put it to good use. So if you can volunteer, just send them a message. You can either call the store or send them an email or hit them up on Facebook, and they will tell you where they can use you. So there is that. And then looking slightly more to a little further than October to February of next year, Gallifrey 1, which is one of those conventions that we'll get to eventually. Chrissy's been once. But they have snagged a pretty big guest for their coming convention, Christopher Eccleston.
Root.
The doctor that helped bring Doctor Who back is going to be appearing at Gallifrey 1 for the first time. He's very slowly working his way into doing more of the convention circuit. But this is the first Doctor Who specific convention that I've heard him attending.
I think so. I think I've heard about other conventions, but they were more general.
Yeah.
Not specific, so.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That is very cool.
Wish I had a ticket.
Yeah, really. So anyone want to sneak us into your pocket and we can meet the Ninth Doctor. That would be nice.
Or if anybody would like to be our reporter on the go for this.
Yes. At the very least, if you want to symbolically take us in your pocket and send us a report back,
that would be awesome.
Take that too. Yes.
We'd take anything.
Much. So that's some convention news. Moving on to other fandom-related news. To not to my surprise, although how quickly this happened, I'm surprised. But the fact that it happened is not a surprise, because I knew that this whole custody thing was not going to go on for forever. That they would reach some sort of agreement. Yeah, it was. Yeah. So, but the when happened a lot faster than I thought. Spider-Man no longer is being in a custody battle between Disney and Sony. They have reached an agreement.
Mommy and Daddy aren't fighting.
Yep. We will be getting a third Spider-Man specific movie in the MCU, currently slated for July of 2021. So, bit of a ways out, but we'll take it. And Kevin Feige will produce the film, along with Amy Pascal producing on her end. And they've also confirmed that Spider-Man, Tom Holland's Spider-Man, which is A specifically, will continue to appear in the MCU. So, and other people's movies that aren't necessarily a Spider-Man titled movie. So,
I'm curious of which ones those would be, because he's been in Avengers, Captain America. So, like, I wonder who he would go with. Like, who would they pair him up with?
We'll have to wait and see. Yeah, really, Deadpool. Everybody wants Spider-Man to team up with Deadpool.
Yeah, obvious thing.
And then the funny thing was, like yesterday, I was scrolling through one of my feeds, and it was from a quasi non-reputable fandom source that supposedly the guy who played Daredevil on Netflix might be in as Peter Parker's attorney for movie 3. Maybe I could see that, but I'm not getting my hopes up.
Yeah, really.
The avocados that Law returned. Hey, I wouldn't mind seeing him and Froggy on the big screen.
Yeah, really. I'll take it.
Yep.
What if they do? Do you think they would ever have the Netflix gang in the main universe? Like they hint at it in the Netflix shows, but they never really made a big thing about the bigger universe.
I don't know.
I mean, that'd be cool. I don't know.
Yeah.
Wait and see.
Yep. So, anyone who was really worried about Spider-Man in the MCU, you can no longer worry your pretty little head. Spidey's back.
Yes.
And then we got, just today dropped, we got a little teaser, essentially confirming, again, not really that big of a surprise, but confirming that we are going to get a season 4 of Stranger Things. So a nice little drop there from the Duffer Brothers and Co. With the tagline that essentially, if you know where season 3 ended, that it's not going to be as Hawkins centric. going forward. So we'll
pack the babushkas.
yeah. So we're not gonna spoil it any more than that. If you really want to be spoiled, you can go listen to our season 3 recap
Exactly.
episode. So,
That was my little thing was hint enough.
yeah. But how soon it'll be before we get season 4? TBD.
Yeah.
So.
I'm just curious of which holiday. I don't know why it's just stuck with me, but I'm curious of what holiday it's going to be based on. Because like all the other ones have been based around a holiday.
Yeah.
So I'm
Because
like,
we had Christmas.
did Halloween?
We had Halloween.
4th of July.
Yep.
Next, I don't know.
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Whatever holiday is, it's not going to be pretty.
No, not really.
I can tell you that. So there is that. And then that's really it for the fandom news. Some housekeeping. I believe I shared this on our Facebook page. The voting actually ends on the 5th, so later this week-ish. So there's not a lot of time left, but my brother is really big into gaming, mostly fighting games. So like Street Fighter and Smash Brothers and all of those types of games. And he's gone to lots of tournaments all over the country, really. And he is currently in the running for essentially a sponsorship that would send him to the Street Fighter North American regionals. So it's a really easy vote. You just have to go and it's got the little buttons next to the person. You don't need to like give your name or your email address really or anything. You just vote for the person. So he is No Good Citizen is his handle. So if you go and vote for him, last I checked and last I heard, he had a pretty good lead, but obviously these things can change. Because he's up against a lot of other people that are well known in those communities on Twitch and things like that. So there's some other people that have some pretty decent sized followings. But if people would go and just take the few seconds it takes, go hit the button and hit the other button, I think. I voted as soon as it was open. So now if I follow that link, it just says, thank you, you voted. So I can't see what it looks like. So I'm trying to base it off of memory.
Because I voted too, and I'm just like, I wonder how he's doing. Oh, I can't check.
Yeah.
I just voted because I've been busy, and I can check, and he's still in the lead.
Okay, good. Yay. He said the voting's open until like October 5th, so I'm gonna take his word on that. So you can only vote once, but every vote helps, obviously. So there is that, and then of course, as we're recording this, it is the last day of September. I don't know how this has happened.
Wow.
If you want to get in on the discussion for this month's book club book, you're out of time. But you can join in the discussion for next month's book.
Right.
And then
Fear of the Dark, which I will be switching sometime tomorrow, and then maybe tomorrow or next week I will have the poll up for November's book choice.
Yep. And of course, October also means the 31 days of Halloween photo challenge. We've been doing this like every year, I think, since we started. So
For this podcast, I remember.
Yeah. We've got the prompts for that, so that will be up and available for you to start doing on October 1st. I've done it a little different this year. Usually in the past, it's been like favorite, least favorite type things that can get a bit repetitive, especially when Doctor Who is not on, so you're not really getting new content, at least as far as TV is concerned, to possibly change your answers. Obviously, there's Big Finish in the comics, in books, which we include that too. But obviously, most people, their main consumption is the TV series, and there's only been one new series since we last did this. So I've changed up the prompts a little bit so they're a bit more broad, I guess. So you don't necessarily have to do favorites. Just pick something that fits the prompt.
They're awesome prompts.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you can, and again, you can use whatever you think fits. It does not have to be just the TV series. It can be Big Finish. It can be the books. It can be the comics. It can be the spin-offs. So that includes Sarah Jane Adventures and Torchwood as well. Stuff you have around the house, Funko Pops and toys and collectibles and that sort of thing. So whatever fits whatever you think fits that prompt for that particular day, go for it. Just make sure you use the hashtag 31 Days of Halloween. It'll be fun to see what people come up with. So there is that. So let's move on to the feedback. We've got feedback from Shalane, talking more about the Frozen 2 trailer. She says her favorite part in the trailer is when Anna's telling Elsa that she's climbed the North Mountain, she survived a frozen heart and saved her from Eric's boyfriend. Anna's essentially telling Elsa, he's like, you don't need to worry about me. I've done all this stuff. I love the bit where Elsa's like, you can't follow me into fire or something, and Anna's like, well, then don't run into fire. I want to follow you. Anna's being very pragmatic about all of this. So that is funny. It's just the sisters' personalities. It's fun. She said, plus we're going on adventure in another enchanted forest, so it's going to be kind of like Once Upon a Time, but different, which, yeah, that's very true. And she also said she's not going to pretend that the theory about Frozen and Tarzan doesn't exist. Because depending on who you ask, supposedly some people that have worked on the first Frozen have said that Frozen and Disney's Tarzan are in the same universe. And then other people are like, no, that's a bunch of malarkey. So it's neither been denied. It's been denied and confirmed depending on who you ask. Although it has been confirmed that it's in the same universe as Tangled, kind of. If you take those two particular coronation guests as canon. But yeah, as far as the whole Tarzan, and that's where their parents were going, or their parents, when they're shipwrecked, that their mother was pregnant with another baby, and it happens to be the baby that ends up being Tarzan in the movie. So that's the prevailing theory that she's referring to. So I guess maybe we'll find out in this movie. They may decide to make it, actually canon or not. So,
I do love, like, there's a whole bunch of, like, those different theories of, like, how these Disney movies could be connected. And they're fun to read. I don't necessarily agree with everything, and some I can kind of see maybe, but it's really fun to read. It's like, huh.
Yeah. Some are a little like, you might be stretching it there. I know, like, the Pixar theory, what people have tried to make it every Pixar movie all fit in the same universe.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's a big one. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll have to wait and see. I mean, Disney's not really, at least as far as like their animated movies, they're not that concerned about having them fit in a universe unless it's the movie's part of the same like character franchise.
Yeah.
So but we'll just wait and see. We'll see what the Easter eggs and hidden stuff they put into Frozen too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving on to this week's topic, which, like I said, it's been a long time since we've done this one. All the way back in February was the last time we did this one. So we don't do this one quite as often as the Mystery Actor Archives.
Mm-hmm.
But
well, to be fair, if we did it too often, it would be the same thing. Oh,
yes,
close to the same things.
Yeah. But this is what we call our currently, where we go through a handful of different like topics or prompts, I guess, and talk about what fits into each one. And usually I end up with several things I need to purchase and or borrow from the library or download or something. It's like I don't need more content to consume, but well, it is what it is. So it's better than watching paint dry, I guess. First up is what are we currently reading?
Oh boy. I guess I can start. I'm reading a 6-book series. I just started it. Got the rest from the library. It's called the Everchase series by Susan Harris, and supernatural police procedural type thing. And so far, so good.
That sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've added a couple books to my list now. Again, thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry, not sorry. Hey, Julie or Britt, what about you?
I'm not reading anything new. I'm actually reading books from my childhood. I've been going through Babysitter's Club books.
Hey.
And the
Nice.
House Fairy book series. I don't know. Well, I think the Babysitter's one is because they had the new audiobooks. So I'm like, oh. So I decided to get back into those, which is still fun. You can definitely tell they were written in the 80s and early 90s. This is the way it's different. So, but it's been fun going back and like the reading from like the stuff I read when I was a child, and like now reading them with like grown up eyes, I guess. I don't know, but I've been enjoying that, and that's kind of it with the books.
Yeah, I'm in a weird space right now because I'm not really reading anything. I've got books that I've purchased like months ago that have not been cracked open, that I probably
Yeah,
should read, and it's nothing anything new. I mean, they're all books I bought secondhand anyway, so they're not anything that's been published this year. Like I picked up a copy of Life of Pi that I haven't bothered to read yet. I've got Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter
Cool.
that I haven't read yet either. So it's like I've got a good number of books that I really should just crack open and read, but I kind of don't want to. But at the same time, there's not really anything new out there, at least that I'm aware of, that I really want to read either. More than likely, when I go to Who North America for Doctoberfest, I will probably pick up some of more of the Lethbridge Stewart books and read some of those. So, because Doctor Who universe, always good.
Yep.
Always a good thing to read. So it's like, it's not that I'm wanting for books. I'm just kind of like, I'm in between books at the moment, and I've got like too many choices and not enough at the same time, if that makes sense.
That makes total sense. I know
it's like, to a non-reader that probably sounds like nonsense, but to another reader it's like, oh yeah, that makes complete sense.
Or the books you have, you might not be in the right mood or mindset to crack open those books, and you know that if you do, you're not going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
There might be a website where you can put in, like, you may be in the mood for this, like a certain genre, a certain plot, or whatever, and it say, here, read this book.
Yeah, really. It's like, these are the types of books that I like, but this is the type of mood I'm in.
Exactly. Like,
yes,
I'm in this mood. Give me a perfect book for this.
Yeah. It's like, I need something that's happy, that's got a happy ending, or it's like, no, I don't mind a little angst, or depending on what mood you're in. So, I need a mood ring for books, is what I need. Somebody build that.
Do we have any inventors that listen to us?
Make it happen. Yeah. It's like, I'm not even really reading fan fiction, which is usually what I go to if I don't want to actually pick up a book. Like, I could spend, 5-10 minutes on, one of the fan fiction websites and maybe find something. But I haven't really touched fan fiction in weeks. So, really odd.
I read fan fiction at, like, night, because I use my phone.
Yeah.
And tend to go a little later than I should, but
don't we all?
Yep.
It's that meme. It's like, it's midnight and like, I should go to bed. Oh, look, a 10,000 word fan fiction. I'm like,
yeah, really?
Like, that is
you got
so
this.
painfully accurate.
Let's do this.
It's like, oh, a 100-page or 100 chapter Supernatural and Harry Potter crossover? Yes, please.
17 are your defenses against the dark art teachers. Have been ready to assault.
On the opposite end of the spectrum, though, it's like, I might not be reading much, but watching, on the other hand.
Oh boy, howdy. Yeah.
And like I was saying at the beginning, it's been so long since we did this that one of the things that was mentioned watching back in February, I know the three of us are watching because it's back on for its second season, which is The Masked Singer.
Yes.
It had its big 2-hour premiere last week, and oh my goodness, I jumped in on The Masked Singer a little late last season, so this season I'm getting right in on it right at the start of the season, and I'm glad I am.
I didn't even watch last season.
Yeah. So they've changed the format a little bit because the number of participants is larger because they're doing 16 so 12. So the tournament format, they're doing like a tournament format. So what they're having to do, they've got it broken up into groups, do the vote, whoever gets voted to not stay, they'll get 2 of those. They will go head to head, and then they'll vote on which one of those gets kicked out. It gets unmasked. So that's new. The head to head, or the sing kind of like RuPaul's Drag Race, where they got to go head to head, try to save their behinds. So we haven't even seen all of the singers yet. It's going to be several weeks before we even get to see everyone perform for the first time, let alone multiple times, because we've only had 2 groups go, and there's still 2 more groups to go.
I think they're only going to be hour episodes.
There was 8 last week, and so for each group. So yeah.
So we still got like 2 more weeks before we get through everybody for the first go round. So it's hard. I can't say if there's really like any ones that I'm gonna be like, watch out for them, just because I haven't seen everyone yet. I do have some that I'm like, I might, be team,
because there are some standouts.
Yeah, the ones we've seen so far, I think my favorites so far have been the butterfly and the Rottweiler and the skeleton.
I agree.
Have been my favorite. So they had a really good group for the first 8 that we saw, and really there was only one person who was not a that one that sounded like they weren't a singer, and they still didn't do too bad. But most everybody has sounded really good. So it's fun to see like the personalities come through when you can't see their faces, like
and the costumes this year.
Yeah, the costumes look really, really good. Like they upped the budget.
Yes, they did.
For the costumes this year. So Masked Singer, totally down. I'm in for it for the next however many weeks it's going to be. 13, 14 weeks, something like that.
Well, along with the Masked Singer, for me, I've got 2 shows: Prodigal Son.
Yes. Yeah, it's like I'm not really. My TV has been on more in the last week than it has in the last 6 months, just because I had the Emmys and then the premiere of Prodigal Son and then the premiere of the Masked Singer. So thankfully they were all on the same channel.
Yes.
Oh yeah, they are all on Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah, the Prodigal Son, I had no idea this was a thing. That this was even a show that was in production, let alone getting ready to premiere. I just so happened to see an ad for it play while I was playing Harry Potter Hogwarts Mystery. Because I like, because you can play ads in the game to like get coins and things. Right. So 99% of the time, if I'm playing and it gives me the option to play an ad to get, bonus coins or whatever, I'm like, yes. I usually have it on mute. And while it's playing, because these ads can be anywhere from like 15 seconds to a minute, just depending on what it is. So a lot of times I will just set my phone down and be like, okay, play your ad, give me my bonus, move on with the game. So I was doing that. It hits to play the ad. Turn to do something else, and out of the corner of my eye, I see part of see it on my screen. I'm like, wait a minute, is that Michael Sheen? I'm like, what is this?
It had, because I saw previous.
Play the ad again.
It had me at Sheen, but then I'm also a big Lou Diamond Phillips fan. And then when I saw him, I'm like, ooh, I'm in.
They had me at Michael Sheen. I'm like, I don't know what this is, but I need to watch it. Turns out it's like a police not necessarily true crime, but like it's almost like a, because the son's like he's a profiler, so he's not necessarily a cop, so it's not like Law and Order, but it's kind of like Law and Order, but it's kind of like Law and Order meets like Silence of the Lambs in a way, because like Michael Sheen plays this guy's dad who apparently was a serial killer when this guy was a kid, and he's been completely traumatized by it, but now he's forced to work with his father to help him profile some of these criminals. But like he's got like PTSD, and he's got like night terrors, like he doesn't sleep very well because he just has dreams and nightmares of finding dead bodies in his father's left.
He handcuffs himself, and he puts like a mouth guard in his mouth.
Yeah, so he doesn't bite his tongue. Yeah, like psychologically, this is not a nice show to watch, but it's an interesting concept. I mean, we've seen, other shows and movies where people work with criminals to help them understand the criminal brain, but now it's, this father-son relationship, and the guy's got the trauma from having this father who was, this absolute psychopath of a serial killer. But it's Michael Sheen. Like he didn't get a lot of screen time in the premiere episode. Hopefully he will going forward. But a few times that he's on screen, he is creepy, and it's so good. He is so good. The show's
your attention is just drawn to him. It's just like, pay attention to me.
Yeah. So it's got a good premise. It's got a good cast. If they could avoid some well-known and frankly overused, like criminal type TV show tropes, they'll be all the better for it. They've necessarily hinted at some things, but I could see them going a couple different ways, storyline wise, that to me it's like, if you do that, that's kind of predictable. So I hope they don't. But we'll see. They've got a good cast. Again, Lou Diamond Phillips is a legend. So, and then Michael Sheen is he's brilliant in everything he does, at least that I've seen him in so far. And him in this role, I can see why for like a half a second Neil Gaiman was considering casting him as Crowley in Good Omens. And why Michael Sheen was kind of considering it until they both decided, nah, he'd make him better as Mirabel. So. But yeah, that's like the other like new show that's currently airing that I'm watching. Everything else is just stuff that's not new, speaking of Michael Sheen, one of the other things I've been watching, I got so far in and then got distracted with other things, but
That sounds right.
yeah, I need to get back to it. It's a TV series he did several years ago called Masters of Sex, where he plays Dr. William Masters, who was in the 50s and in the late 50s, early 60s, and then going into the 70s, was a kind of a pioneer researcher into human sexuality. So it's based on a actual real person. So that being said, it's biographical but fictional at the same time, and yes, there is a lot of sex in it.
I'm assuming this was like an HBO Stars.
It was on Showtime, I think.
Oh, Showtime.
Yeah.
I was in the right area.
You were
It was one of those premium cable, channel series. So yeah, definitely not safe for work, not safe for children. But
I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's a good series. I mean, it's not like it's not really a lot of action or anything, but I mean the characters are written real well. There's some recognizable other actors that were in the series as well. Allison Janney was in it. Actually, one of my friends appears. It's a really short. He's in a montage of study participants. So he's not on screen for very long. But I have a friend that made an appearance on Masters of Sex. So I was like, hey, I know him. So that was kind of fun. So there's that. But I need to get back. I was like, this is why I can't read anything, because I can't stick with anything, because I gotta bounce around apparently. Because I was bouncing around to that, and then moved on to, I don't know what I moved on to, but it wasn't TV. I think I was watching movies, I think. And then I'm also in the middle of watching The Thick of It, which completely different tone, but the political series, kind of comedy series that Peter Capaldi was in.
I was gonna say, wasn't that? I remember hearing about that a lot when he was first cast in Doctor Who. A lot of people talking about that. Yeah,
there's a lot of cursing. It's like The Office.
I hope that's like a big thing with him. That one.
Yeah, the writers come up with some very imaginative ways for him to curse without just relying on your standard curse words. Different insults and everything. It's funny. It's like The Office, but for British politics. It's a bit hard to watch visually because it is kind of that documentary style, kind of like The Office, but they don't have like the talking heads where like they talk, like you're interviewing someone one-on-one. It's just people in the different political offices going about their business and usually screwing things up, which is why it makes it a comedy. But it's shaky camera work because I think they're trying to make it that documentary Office style, but it's just almost a bit too shaky in some spots. So if that bothers you, you may have issues watching it. But other than that, it's funny and it's really hilarious to see just these words, these filthy words come out of Peter Capaldi's mouth. Mm-hmm. Oh, and of course, a lot of it, because it's British politics, a lot of the references go straight over my head because I don't know the first thing about. I know I know that they have a prime minister, and that's how their government works. But if they talk about different locations and stuff, like I have no idea what you're talking about. But I don't care because it's Peter Capaldi and he's wonderful. So
have interesting episodes, like number of episodes. I just looked it up. Like,
Yeah, the first season is like
2 has
4
3.
episodes, and then like the second season, it's more than that. There's not a lot. It did not go on for very long, and the episodes themselves are really short. They're like 22 minutes or something like that. There's that, and then I'm also watching 30 Rock. I started watching that. I'm not very far into it, which was the like sitcom comedy that was on NBC with Tina Fey and Alec Baldwin and Tracy Morgan and stuff. So I like Tina Fey.
I was like a teenager. I don't know why. I just remember it being on and I watching it sometimes.
Yeah. I like Tina Fey. I think she's a good comedian. So that's me watching like 5 different TV shows at once. It's no wonder I'm not reading anything.
I'm kind of in the same boat. Like, just watching like the shows that are back on, because I watch a lot of shows in the fall. And like I've been randomly going back to like older shows from like the 90s and before. Like, I've been watching Law and Order SVU lately again. I don't know why. I just put it on randomly. And I've been watching drawing a blank. Like,
I'm trying to think of what you've been posting, like that you're like, it's on.
yeah, like I've been like,
Because you watch way more TV than, at least current TV than I do. Because like you watch things like Hawaii Five-0 and
Magnum PI.
Yeah, so you watch a lot of cop-related shows, Brittany.
I've always had when I was a kid. Like, for some reason, because like that, I've always been drawn to like the cop shows and medical shows. I watch a lot of medical shows too.
Yep. Britt and I are in the same boat. We're usually watching the same stuff.
Yep. I'm trying to think of any like the brand new ones from this year.
Step Tone, Emergence, Evil.
It shows all have. Well, sometimes it's really cop, more like Private Eye.
Yeah.
But that has Kobe Smulders in it. People know her from How I Met Your Mother and The Avengers.
Mm-hmm. Agent Maria Hill.
Yes. Yep.
And I've also been watching like movies that I've been meaning to watch. Like, I finally watched Detective Pikachu a couple days ago, which was fun and cute.
It is. It's actually genuinely funnier than I thought it was going to be. Mm-hmm. I watched that on one of our flights back from San Francisco, and there were several times where I had to make sure I wasn't laughing so loud I was bothering the people around me.
It was funny, like, because I had recently rewatched Deadpool. So, like, I hear Deadpool's voice out of Pikachu. I'm like, oh, this is interesting.
Yeah. The plot's pretty predictable, but you don't watch a movie like that for the plot. You watch it so that you can go, oh, I know that that Pokemon. Yeah. Start listing the names, like, oh.
I kind of remember that from my childhood.
Mm-hmm. I haven't really watched any movies. Well, Chauncey and I did watch Friday the 13th Part 5 the other night. because they just reviewed it on Cult Cinema Cavalcade, and it's one of Chauncey's favorites, and it's one I had not seen yet. I'd seen 4 and 6 last year, and we own 5, but apparently our copy is, the disc has gone bad, so we had to rent it off of iTunes, but which was actually better, so because it looked better because it was an HD, so it was a really old DVD copy. So, we'll probably end up watching more Halloween type movies, which not necessarily my cup of tea. I'm not big into like the slasher films, although most of the classic ones, they're ridiculous. It's not that I can't stand the blood and guts and the slashing, because hello, I watch 8 seasons of Game of Thrones, but usually it's just the plot is just so ridiculous. I spend most of the time just rolling my eyes, like, really? Because
Yeah,
it's just so cheesy. The newer stuff, they really go for like the shock value, but the stuff from like the 80s, it's just so cheesy. So
you're yelling at the TV like, "How are you so stupid?"
Yeah.
It's no surprise that you die.
Yeah. And then there's annoying characters that don't die soon enough, and then when they finally do, you're like, finally!
Or they survive, like, why was it you? Why did you survive?
Yes, exactly.
Man, we sound so horrible right now.
It is what it is. So. Excuse me. So this one's a bit more broad, but what, if anything, are you currently anticipating? Anticipation.
I can't think of anything. Like, I'm drawing a blank of what's coming out this year. Like, it's the end of the year, so what is coming out at the end of the year?
Well, we've got Frozen 2.
We've got Star Wars.
We got Star Wars, Rise of Skywalker. That's about it.
Yeah. Well, for me, Star Wars, I'm also anticipating next week the season opener of the last season of Supernatural, and breaking news, a former librarian / hitter is supposed to be making a guest appearance on Supernatural finally, aka Christian Kane.
I do like
I'm looking forward to
article that you sent me. It said Angel alum. Like I love Angel, but they went all the way back to Angel to
like people don't know him from Leverage and Librarians. I know why.
Like,
so supposedly he is supposed to be playing a hunter friend of Dean's, so this should be interesting.
Aren't they real friends? Like, aren't they friends in real life?
Yes, they are.
You saying something that one time?
Yep. Yes, they are. So this should be interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, movie-wise, there's not. I am looking forward to A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, which is the Mr. Rogers movie with
that's right. That's coming up.
Hanks, which I am actually going to see an early screening of. They are showing it as part of the Heartland Film Festival. So I managed to snag a ticket, so I'm actually going to see it next week.
Nice. Cool.
I can't wait to hear the probably it's gonna be too many spoilers.
Yeah, it's a bio movie about Mr. Rogers. It's like, this is gonna be that spoilery. So, but yeah, it is. I'm usually not in town when the Heartland Film Festival is going on because it's close to my niece's birthday. So we usually end up going out of town so that we can go celebrate her birthday. So it's not an event that I really got to attend, like any of the screenings. And then occasionally they will include like a screening or something, and I usually don't see the announcement until it's completely sold out. If I do happen to be in town, like last year, I think it was last year, they did a screening of The Princess Bride with Rob Reiner, and it was sold out by the time I realized that was a thing that's happening. So this year I happened to see the posting on Facebook from Heartland about this screening. I'm like, and it was sold out by the time I got to it. But then they made an announcement like, "Oh, more tickets are available." I'm like, sold. I don't care. Give me tickets. Go see the Mr. Rogers movie.
Here, take my money.
Yes. Please and thank you. I will bring my own tissue. Because odds are I'm going to cry. So that's something that's soon that I'm excited and anticipating. And then next week actually is also the screening, the limited but theater release for the Metallica S&M 2 concert movie. So Chauncey and I are going to go see that, which is exciting. And then Oktoberfest at Who North America next month as well. I have a very busy October, so I'm anticipating October being over so I can get some sleep. My calendar for October is just ridiculously full. It is not even funny. And I'm sure somewhere in there, Chauncey's going to be like, I want to go to some haunted houses. Because most of them are now open for the season in the area. My mom is working at one of them. So, well, he'll go at least a couple times. I'm sure. I don't do the haunted house. I do the Children's Museum haunted house, and that's about as scary as I'm willing to get. But Chauncey, on the other hand, I'm sure will be like, I'm going to go to like 12 haunted houses this weekend. I'm like, that's nice, hon. You have fun. Tell me all about it when you get back. Bring me back some candy. That's my favorite part about Halloween, is the candy. Anything else?
Not really. This.
So, what is everybody currently listening to?
Well, for me, I am going back to re-listen. Brittany had tossed this my way a couple months back, and I'm re-listening to it. It's called Cabin Pressure. It's a BBC audio comedy drama with Benedict Cumberbatch, aka Doctor Strange. And the other thing I am listening to is, it was made available on Amazon streaming. You may have to check your other music providers if you have a subscription, but the Beatles 50th anniversary of Abbey Road, there was a deluxe edition that just dropped. So I am listening to that.
They had a dedication. Yeah, they had a dedication in Los Angeles the last week where they put a plaque up in commemoration with Sir Patrick Stewart. Was there? Cool. My friend Hope was there actually for that, so she got to watch that, which was really cool.
So that's what I've been listening to.
I've been listening to a lot of just like background music and not like anything specific. There's a channel I'm subscribed to on YouTube. It's just called the Background Music Channel, or BGM, and they've got some like really long videos where they're like an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, sometimes longer. And they have some where it's live, so it just goes on and on and on and on and on. It never stops. So if you just need like some ambient background, like you do some background noise, but something where you don't need to pay attention to what's actually like going on, you just need that noise. That's a good option actually. If you have if you have a device that you can have YouTube open, there's a lot of those live channels on YouTube. But that's just one I stumbled across, and I happen to like their style of music. It tends to be like a lot of like smooth jazz, like bossa nova. Not a lot of instruments. Light guitar, light percussion. Some piano. But it's really good to have in the background when you're doing whatever, where you just need that background noise. So there's another one. Oh, and I can't remember the name of the channel now. I think I shared it with you guys, I think in the chat at some point. But it's another channel that does like those long ambient music, but it's they do fandom related ambient worlds. That's what it's called. Where they've got like a couple hour long videos, but it's like Pirates of the Caribbean or Winter Woods of Narnia or Rivendell or A Rainy Night at Hogwarts.
Cool.
So if you want something that's slightly more recognizable, you can check them out too. So, but that's mostly what I've been listening to for the most part. I've got different channels that I listen to on like the different streaming apps. But it really just kind of depends on what mood I am in. I have been listening to the David Bowie channel on iHeartRadio. I've been listening to the Flicks with Friends uber long movie like soundtrack playlist on Spotify. Sean keeps adding to it, so this thing's like ridiculously long.
I know. I think he's planning on like adding like
complaining. It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not complaining, but it's just there's a lot of music there. So it just kind of depends on what mood I'm in. But I'm not really listening to, and then podcasts, lots and lots of podcasts. I'm so behind on podcasts. Don't anyone give me any recommendations. I don't need, you can recommend books, you can recommend TV shows or movies, but please, for the love of all things holy, I do not need any more podcast recommendations at all. I'm struggling enough as it is. Like, I have my go-tos, Traveling the Vortex, which they took a short break, but it wasn't that long of a break for me because I had fallen so far behind. By the time I got to the point where they're like, yeah, we're taking a break, they were back like 2 weeks later. So, although now I've fallen slightly behind again, but I don't want to get spoiled on the Big Finish, the anniversary. Usually I don't care about spoiling Big Finish, but I actually want to listen to that one. And of course, Unspooled, they're still going strong, working their way through the AFI list. Cult Cinema Cavalcade, they still got their regular releases. I'm so far behind on Lou. It's not even funny. So sorry, Lou. One of my favorite podcasts just came back after, because they do seasons. So they had a break in between seasons, but Imagine Life is back. So that's the one where they give you like it's kind of autobiographical of a well-known person, but they don't tell you who it is until the very end.
Oh, neat.
But they just came back a few weeks ago, so I've been listening to them when they release their new episodes. They release weekly, so. But yeah, I've the West Wing Weekly, although they're getting close to being done. They're on the last season of the West Wing, so I'm assuming that the podcast will end once they get to the end of the series. So they'll be done sometime early next year. So that'll free up a little bit until someone gives me another show to listen to, which is, it's bad enough listening to some of these shows, especially the ones that are like on networks. Like Imagine Life is part of the Wondery. So they've got a whole bunch of podcasts, and they'll be like, this podcast is brought to you by this other podcast. I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting. And I'm like, no, I don't need it anymore.
I don't listen to too many of those, like the podcasts that belong to a network as much as I used to. But back then, when I did, like, listen to this podcast about this show. And it's funny because like it'd be a show like I haven't watched, but it will pick up my interest. So I end up watching that show and listen to that same podcast. So like it's just a big cycle of yeah.
Yeah, so no more podcast recommendations for like 10 years, please. And thank you.
Unless you tell us otherwise.
Yeah. Oh, heaven help me.
I've kind of been like in the same boat as you, Rachel. I'm not really listening to anything specific. I have a lot of background music. Like I listen to different random channels on iHeartRadio, including some like local radio stations. And then I've been having a lot of background. Like I listen to ASMR at night, and I've actually started listening to some of those during the day while I'm working on something. So, and a lot of the ASMR ones I listen to are like very similar to those kind of like the fandom thing that you were talking about with the like go to a certain like Hogwarts and you like hear people talking and writing quills and all that stuff. Like I haven't really listened to anything specific. Like I've been like doing other things. I don't want to have anything that I have to actually, like you were saying, pay attention to. So I just need like the background. I can't do quiet. I know people who can have quietness. I can't. There has to be some kind of noise around me. If it's too quiet, I freak out.
I'm same way.
I'm like that even when I sleep. Like even though I sleep with earplugs in, which would make you think, oh, she needs to like block out as much noise as possible. No, I sleep with earplugs in while I have white noise going.
Yeah.
That makes complete sense.
Whatever the earplugs doesn't filter out, hopefully the white noise will cover.
I'm definitely that, like, they say, like, you have a friend that has a fan on all year round. I'm that friend. I have my fan on all the time. Like, even if it's too cold to have the fan on me, I would turn it around. but I have to have that noise.
Yep.
But I can't have like the TV on. Like I know people who sleep with the TV on. I can't do that. I can't have that like flashing lights. So
well, with the TV, one, you've got the light.
Yeah.
Even if you have like a TV where you can adjust the brightness, you've got that. But then with the TV, it's not. Although you can have this problem with stuff on YouTube too, especially if they've got ads that play in the middle of videos, but the volume between whatever it is and ads usually can be extreme. So
oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've seen people like some of the ASMR channels I watch. I read through the comments, and some people were saying like they would get like ads for like horror movies. Like that's the least relaxing ad you can get.
Yeah, it's like I know that, you know, as someone who also creates content for YouTube, I understand that, you know, if you want to make a living off of YouTube, you need to have ads. And so you got to take whatever you can get. And content creators don't have control over what ads play. They just can say whether they want ads or not. But they can't say what ads get played. But you would think YouTube, in all of their power, that
and all the algorithms they have,
and all of the algorithms they have, that they could somewhat cater the ads to the type of content that is on that channel, and specifically ASMR videos and channels. I mean, I know there's some videos that I have on my ASMR playlist that are not intentional ASMR. There's a lot of accidental ASMR out there.
Same.
But for someone who, content creators out there that their channel is specifically for ASMR, give them ads that are appropriate for that. Stuff without loud music or loud talking. Stuff that's calm.
I mean, I know they could do it. I've gotten ads like for some like watching some like geeky video, and I would get a geeky ad. Like if they could do that, like why can't they do it? Like I mean, there isn't like Sony. Like there are like a few commercials that have been kind of making ASMR kind of commercials. So
yeah, use those. There's nothing worse than you've got ASMR going, you're relaxing, you know, you're having the moment, you may be possibly falling asleep to, you know, the calmness that is ASMR, and then bam, ad for like Sunday Night Football.
Yeah.
Like, well,
thanks for nearly giving me a heart attack.
Yeah. Like, and a moment is ruined.
Yeah.
We need to do an episode specifically about ASMR, because I'm sure there's some people that are like, what the heck are y'all talking about? This sounds weird. There's probably some people that may have heard a little bit about it and maybe have there's some misconceptions. So.
Yeah, there's unfortunately a few I've seen like.
Yep. Yeah. It's on the list. Last but certainly not least, what is everybody working on?
Boy, not a whole lot. I'm kind of going through and reorganizing my collection of books and DVDs, and it's just like, oh, Forgot about you. Forgot about that. And putting them into categories that are can be easily found. Like, where did I put that? So when we were talking about, oh, we might be doing this or this, it's like, oh, where did I put that? Now I've kind of got things organized. So now it's within easy reach. So basically that's what I'm working on, reorganizing the collections of stuff.
I've got a cosplay that needs to be organized. Always.
I wonder what cosplay that is.
Always. And for
which one?
The thing is, yeah. Well, the thing is like I've spent the last several months collecting all the fabric other accoutrement that I need to do a Aziraphale from speaking of Michael Sheen. And I picked up the last of the fabric I needed while I was in San Francisco.
Yay!
Had to travel all the way to the other side of the country to find the fabric that I need because it apparently is not sold in Indiana. Thanks a lot. So I've got all that, and while I've been working on collecting everything I need for Aziraphale, I've also been working on collecting everything I need to make new clothes for the Duff Door.
Oh, cool.
So that because he's looking a little ratty and his clothes are looking a little ratty. So I've been picking up the stuff I need to make him the pinstripe suit and the Janis Joplin coat that the 10th Doctor wore. Although now Build-A-Bear has announced that they're doing a line of Doctor Who.
I saw that.
The outfit that I'm going to make will probably be available for purchase.
Now, could the Duff Door double as a Crowley bear?
Yeah. So I'm probably still going to make, do the handmade just because then his is, it's custom made to fit him. So technically he does fit the Build-A-Bear stuff, kind of. He's slightly longer than the Build-A-Bear bears. So like the clothes he's wearing now are from Build-A-Bear, and the top fits okay. The pants, not quite. They're a bit short. So like I said, while the Build-A-Bear stuff may technically fit him, since I've got a pattern and I can adjust it to actually fit him properly. So. But that working on that and starting on Aziraphale are my big pet projects going into the winter and not convention season. So, but both of those are going to be stressful because I've never made a suit before. So the Duff Door will be a good practice miniature suit. So when I have to make a full grown suit for myself,
piece of cake.
Better idea of how this thing works. So, but those are like my two big projects going forward. Is cosplay, sewing, and more sewing. So, and then when I get tired of sewing, I've been doing a lot of coloring. I've got those adult coloring books. And my mom gave me one that's just generic images. They're mandalas. So I've been like stress relieving by doing these adult coloring, coloring book pages. I ended up going and buying like 100 color box of colored pencils. So I have more colors because I wasn't happy with the number of colors I had. I need more.
Yep.
So that's a nice stress reliever. I mean, I've done it before in the past, but like I've been like on a tear recently. Which I don't know what that says about my coloring is fun.
No, I like the randomness. I have like the Mandela ones. I have like peaceful saying ones. I have fandom ones. I have one from Maine too.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it counts, but I also I have like coloring apps on my phone that I do it sometimes.
I've had some of those in the past. I don't quite get the same satisfaction from, but that's me. So maybe I just really like the smell of pencil lead. I don't know.
I think I like doing the ones on the phone like at night.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can have the light off and I'm like laying in bed. Like I don't know.
Or you can do them on the go, like if you're stuck waiting like in line at drive through or something.
Oh yeah, I definitely done that when I was out and about and waiting for something.
Yeah.
I'm not working on anything really, unless you count job hunting.
Hey, that's something.
Yep.
And once you find a job, you'll be working on work.
Yeah. I have to say, I miss having a job. Like, I know, like, when people walk, like, oh, I can't wait to have a break. No, I'm so bored. Like,
Yeah, when you're used to being a certain level of busy, and then you're suddenly not, it could be a shock to the system.
Just like I forgot today was Monday.
Yeah,
It's Monday. I have
it is.
actually things to do Monday. But yeah, that's really all I've been really working on is job hunting, which is as fun as I always remembered it to be when that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
like I get emails like, "Oh, you'd be perfect for this job," and one of them was like a government job in Washington D.C. I'm like, how the heck am I perfect for that? I needed security clearance. I don't have any security clearance. How am I perfect for this job? I was laughing so hard at that. Like, okay, whatever you say.
That's funny. Do you know something about me I don't?
Right. When did I get the security clearance? And why can't I use it?
Yeah.
The closest I ever came anywhere near a security clearance is my dad had some security clearance when he was working. He was doing something with NASA down in Florida. And that was years ago. He has no security clearance anywhere anymore. So like, I think it's because like I had computer training years ago, and like the job they needed was like a computer tech thing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh well. Yay, job hunting. But yep, that's all I've been working on.
All right. Anybody got anything else?
Not that I can think of.
Cool. All right. Well, we will try to put links to as much stuff in the show notes as possible. So it's very random. Some of the stuff is pretty random, so they're not necessarily links, but we will. If there are, we will try to provide them. So, All right. Well, if any of our listeners want to chime in with suggestions, go right on ahead. I know I said no podcast recommendations, but I can always ignore you.
Send them to us.
Yeah.
I don't listen to too many podcasts, and I'm kind of missing that.
Apparently, Brittany and Holly will take your suggestions into account.
Yep.
So you could do that. The easiest way is to go to our website, which is the 5ishfangirls.com. From there, you can find links to different ways to contact us, email, various social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, that sort of a thing. If you want to join in the Goodreads book club discussion, there's also the link to that. If you would like to financially support us, there are several ways you can do that. We have our Amazon affiliate link. If you click on that and then shop on Amazon, we get a small kickback from Amazon. It does not cost you any more, and you can use Amazon Prime if you're a Prime member. There is also our Patreon and our Ko-fi, where we just get money directly from you, and also our Redbubble store, where you can get merch with not only our logo on it, but other designs as well. And that's about it for this week. So with that, we shall sign off.
This is Brittany and Bethany saying goodnight.
This is Sally from Wisconsin saying good evening.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. And before I forget, yes, it's at least relevant while we're recording this, but happy International Podcast Day, everyone.
Oh, yes.
To the 5ish Fangirls podcast. You can find more episodes and information at the5ishfangirls.com. Any and all books, movies, games, and any other forms of media mentioned are owned and operated by the respective copyright holders. No copyright infringement is intended or implied. If you wish to support the show, the easiest way is to leave us a rating and review. More ratings and reviews will make it easier for others to find the show. If you wish to support us monetarily, you can do so at patreon.com/5ishfangirlspodcast. All money goes towards fees and equipment to keep the show going. For official 5ish Fangirls merchandise, visit redbubble.com/people/5ishfangirls. We love hearing from our listeners and encourage feedback. You can email us at 5ishfangirls@gmail.com. You could also like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/5ishfangirls. Thank you so much for listening, and may the squee be with you.